Welcome. Today we will be meeting Pila Pharma, and that's a medical company with an orally distributed treatment on obesity and diabetes. They are now offering a shared issue that is secured to 99%. To put this in proper context, I am pleased to welcome CEO Gustav Gram to the studio. Hello, Gustav.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. It's nice to see we took on the same summer suit today. It's
Yeah, we sure.
nice and warm here in Stockholm, so it's a pleasure to be back with you.
Very
guys.
suitable.
Yeah.
As concluded over and over again, you are in the sweet spot of life science with obesity and diabetes. What can you say about this fact?
I think sweet spot is a big word. I think, of course, but you're very right. I mean, it's a hugely interesting segment. You know, obesity has become a globally prevalent disease, which of course has many different diseases that derive from obesity, and so. With the modern medicine that we've seen come through in recent years, we've actually seen a big breakthrough in how to treat obesity and all the related disorders. So what we do in Pila Pharma, of course, is very attractive in that sense because we're working on a type of drug that is oral. So the hope is, of course, we can drive something forward that can be made as a tablet, where you can really scale it to address the needs on a global basis.
Yeah, and usually mentioned in this area is Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, for instance, which you are from the beginning connected to. Can you give us a brief?
Yeah, so I mean, our science, our discovery from our founder Dorte derives from her time back in Novo Nordisk back in 1999. Of course, since then, Novo Nordisk has made the strategic decision to focus more on injectable solutions, and therefore Dorte was able to buy out the patents back in the day. It also needs to be said that back in the day, obesity wasn't it wasn't designated as a disease, so everyone was doing diabetes treatments. So that is a very recent phenomenon that has come around, and of course, for us in Pila Pharma, it makes it super interesting because now there's suddenly a market for what we have always thought out to be, the center of what we do.
And what can you say on put it like this, where in the development phase are you within the two, obesitas and diabetes?
Yeah, so what I can say is that until now, we have always been a type 2 diabetes company. That is, like I said, because obesity as a disease has never been around, so it hasn't really been feasible for us to conduct any obesity trials. Now that, of course, sentiment has changed, and that's why we are launching this rights issue on the basis of our discussions with investors, both existing but also external, whether or not we should make a bet on obesity as a standalone, so pure obesity without other complications. So the place we're at now is that we still have activities in type 2 diabetes. We're in phase 2. We're preparing for a phase 2A trial. This will go on in parallel. But the funds from the rights issue that we will get to in a second will be going directly to fund a bet on pure obesity as a separate track, so we can have two separate tracks that run in parallel to each other.
Interesting. And you're still a quite small company, but what can you share on your partnering strategy?
So, like I mentioned the last time I was here a couple of weeks ago as well, we are active in partnering. We go out a couple times a year to these bigger conferences where you can do sort of speed dating with big companies and their representatives. And what we see now is that there's a huge amount of interest compared to just a few years ago. We get meetings with a lot of the big pharma companies, both the ones that are in the game, but also wishes to partake in the obesity game. And what they all tell us is that they think, that the direction we are running this is great, is interesting, but they wish to see obesity data. So that is, of course, also one of the reasons why we've gone back to our investors and said, look, we think we may have a window here, but we also need to, have your support in order to actually achieve meaningful data that can get us to a point where a potential partnership or an acquisition could be a possibility.
Naturally, thank you. And let's move on then to the rights issue, where the subscription period is July 1st, 3 days ago, through July 15th, and it is guaranteed up to 99%. It will bring in approximately 20 million Swedish kronas, and if oversubscribed, there can be an extra capital of up to 9.9 million Swedish kronor prior to issue costs. What can you say about the interest?
It's been great, of course, as evident with the subscription rate. We, of course, went back to our existing investors and really quickly felt that there was overwhelmingly good support. investors have had an interest to support this direction. So more than 50% of the issue is actually from existing investors, primarily on our top 25. And then we've managed to get some external investors and guarantor support in order to secure it almost up to 100%, like you say. So that's really great, and I think it's indicative of the segment that we're in. It's very attractive and it's interesting, and I think we also found a structure for the rights issue where we put an offer forward now that really doesn't carry that much risk for investors. Of course, you know, we wish to give them an offer in order to fund the progress to the next step, which is conducting some rat studies. And then on the backside of the rat studies, we could potentially fuel the company even more if the data comes out successful, of course. So there's also a warrant component to this offer that could be very attractive.
Mm. So you're going to use the capital to the phase 2A study on obesity. What else are the capital going to?
No, so to start with, what we intend to do is actually to carry out some rat studies. Mm. So we wish to establish whether or not the molecule works in, let's say, in different types of one or more different types of obesity models in rats, and subsequently, of course, pending good results, we hope to move into clinical studies in humans living with overweight, but without, of course, diabetes and all these other complications. So that is that's the strategy here and now. We anticipate that the rat studies will not take more than, let's say, 6 months time or so. So we anticipate depending on how quick we can get them started, we could have those results already around New Year. And then you have the warrant component with a strike sometime after that. And then subsequently, a human study would take, it's hard to say exactly how long it would take. It depends a lot on enrollment, of course. But it would be a phase 1A/B type of study where you, of course, assess the safety, but also the efficacy in a human population.
Mm. Okay, thank you. And so, according to you, why should investors invest in Pila Pharma?
Because obesity is going to be the next big thing within medical sciences. I mean, it already is. There's so many complications that you can treat through treating obesity. Mm-hmm. So if investors wish to play a part in this segment, of course, you can bet on some of the big players that are already on the market or coming through with different solutions. But as an alternative, Pila Pharma is a very interesting, a very differentiated type of company, developing something completely novel and completely different to everyone else on the market. So hopefully that will spur some interest down the line once we have proven ourselves. Now we have got the capitalization to actually move some things and move some stones and produce some results. So we're very confident, we're very happy, and we of course welcome everyone who wishes to partake, to come on board and be part of this rights issue, because like you said before, we have the option to do over allocation. And at this point in time, you know, if we sense that there's sufficient interest and the money is there, then we will take it and we will produce as much as we can with it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gustav Gram, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And I want to address the audience, thank you for watching, and also tell you that there will be a link to a presentation done about 3 weeks ago here on this channel, where you can see a presentation by Gustav Gram. Thank you.